Hi, everybody. My name is Ted Gardner. I'm one of the portfolio managers with Westwood Salient's energy infrastructure team. Today, we are going to review June performance and just speak for a moment on the latest developments in the war. Energy infrastructure held up really well in June despite some volatility in the broader energy space. The AMNA was up 2.1%. The AMEI was up 1.6%, and then the MLP benchmark, the AMZ, was flat. However, due to the expectation and ultimate signing of a memorandum of understanding to end the war in Iran, we saw declines in oil prices, with oil falling north of 20% during June, and we saw broader energy equities follow suit as well. The XLE was down 5%, while the XOP was down 5.5%, and OSX was down 10.5%. However, on a year-to-date basis, we still have some very positive returns across the board for energy, and we're starting to see the returns converge a bit, kind of in that low 20% range. So AMNA is up 23.2% for the year-to-date period. AMEI is up 24.4%, and then we see the XLE up 20.4%, the XOP up 23.3%, and the OSX up 22.6%. So again, not a very strong June for broader energy, but overall the year-to-date returns have been very attractive. The top individual performer in the energy infrastructure space for the quarter was Select Water Solutions, which was up 19.4%. This is a company that has historically been very much an oil service company, but they've gotten into the water business as well, which has become a meaningful part of their business. And they were actually added to the AMNA and AMEI back in March. So the reason for the strong performance was they posted a very strong quarter and announced 25 to 30% growth for that water business. So got a bit of that tailwind into June on that news from their first quarter earnings. On the downside, Genesis is down 18.5% for the year. The company pointed to the bottom half of its guidance range for the year. And we also saw some institutional selling there as well, which we think pressured the stock. On a year-to-date basis, Kodiak Gas Solutions is the top performer at 104.2%. Kodiak has historically been a compression company, but they have also gotten into the behind-the-meter power solution business. They made an acquisition to get them into that business and announced some new contracts, which has really fueled the stock year to date. And then Genesis is also the bottom performer for the year at negative 7.2%. Now for the latest developments in the war. As I mentioned a moment ago, there's a memorandum of understanding that was signed between the U.S. and Iran on June 17th to end the war. Although, as I'm sure you are aware, President Trump said on July 8th that ceasefire has now ceased, and we are in a fresh round of bombing as we speak. So some of these numbers that I'm going to share with you may change as we move forward, but we wanted to highlight that due to the presumed end of the war, that we did see production and exports out of OPEC as a whole, and particularly the Persian Gulf countries, rebound in June. Specifically, OPEC as a whole saw its production rise by 2.4 million barrels in June, with about 2.2 million barrels of that coming from those Persian Gulf countries. However, those same Persian Gulf countries are still down about 9.9 million barrels per day of production from where they were before the war started. So we did start to see a tick up in June. They're still a long way from normalized, and now that we seem to have renewed the war, we may see these numbers change as we go forward into July and August as well. So stay tuned on that, and we will keep you posted on anything that we think is important. So thank you for your time today. Please reach out to your Westwood representative with any questions you may have.